Well, hello again everyone, and welcome back to Kovac Enterprises. In this video we are going to do a bit about PapaDans inquiry, how we display our completed models. So with that being said, just to note, I don't display my models in any kind of cabinets or of that nature. They're pretty much all kind of sitting around my entire house in crooks and crannies, so to speak. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, and give you a little tour of the models that I've completed over the last 4 or 5 years. So on with the show. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and this is actually my little corner where all the magic happens and putting the models together, and that is it. So let's move forward here, and we got some models to display here on the wall. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with some figurines. This is of course Morticia from Addams Family with a little diorama setup that I did for a Halloween group build. And then right next to her we have Vampirella, which is a resin figure that we did as well. And moving on with the theme of figures, we have Black Widow, and then we have the monogram Superman that we did for Classic Plastic 101 Appreciation Group Build. And then of course down below here we have, this is the 3rd season of the Tom Daniels group build that I just recently did. That's the cop-out car. And as we move up a notch, we have our Starsky and Hutch Torino all done up. And then on the top shelf we have our 2nd year of the Tom Daniels garbage truck. And then to the left we of course then have the Bat Cycle from the ASM Batman group build. Alright, so moving along, we come across over here, and up on top we have the Airwolf from Kitech with a little diorama setup. And then we have Lost in Space, the One-Eyed Monster. And then of course we have our, let me see if I get a little bit closer, we have our Paddy Wagon from Tom Daniels. That was the first build I did for the first year that I entered. Okay, and then for my wife I went ahead and just recently did this Chicago police themed police car, since she's from Chicago. And then we have our Christine from the movie. So that's what we have here in this one room. So we are going to go ahead and go into the next room. We'll be right back. Alright, just stepping out of the modeling room there, we come across our Starship 1 airplane that is what Led Zeppelin back in the day used to lease out. And we have that in a nice little diorama taking off on the runway. So that is that. And then of course moving into the living room, we'll come over here, and this was just recently done, our 66 Shelby GT350H. So that is done. And right next to that we have, sorry for the lighting, it's not very bright in here, but it is the PT-109 JFK's boat. So that is that. And on to the next room. Okay, we're in our great room. We have a nice little display here. Of course we have here is Vampirella from the Monster Scene collection. A nice little diorama except for that was also a Halloween group build I was entered into. And if we come up and over, we have our Camaro with our 1/13 scale trike, our little Triceratops. And then we have two of our Datsun 240 and 280Z, which I used to drive back in the day in high school. And then we have our Roadrunner. And then of course we come across here and we have our Snap Kit Batmobile, as well as the 1960s comic book version of the Batmobile as well. And then of course we have our Adam 12 car that was a Roadrunner that I converted into a 4-door for the Adam 12 vehicle. Alright. And then as we kind of pan across here, of course you know I'm a Star Trek fan, so there's a cutaway of the Enterprise E here as well. And then we have our Apollo, since I like real space, I'm a NASA nerd, you know, down there. And then we come across the very first model I built about 5 years ago, and that's the actual Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea View. Just a note above it, this was the actual first concept drawing of the Enterprise before it got approved for, I know you can hardly see it, but that's the actual sketch drawing of the Enterprise as we know today. And then of course I have a few of the Star Trek insignias. And as we pan on down here, of course here's my Celestron telescope, because I do like astronomy and I've seen quite a few planets through it. And of course on the floor right behind it is the launch tower and space shuttle with booster rockets that I will eventually get to build. That's in the holding pattern. And that's the great room where I display all my stuff. So I believe we have one more room to navigate through, and we'll wrap this thing up. Be right back. Okay, we're in the master bedroom right now, and of course we have, this is actually a die cast of a Harley Davidson motorcycle. And then we have our 1/72 scale Saber with our little diorama display of the 172 crew members. And this one particularly does light up inside the cockpit and everything. And as we come across here, this is my more recent build, the actual Mack R truck for the big rig group build. Alright. And as we come across here to this table, we have assortment of course, most of it's Batman themed, but we do have my favorite Martian, and then of course we have the what I call the Michael Keaton Batmobile with a die cast Batman next to it. And then this is the Dawn of Justice Batmobile as well. And then we have our Batwing. This is the one I did probably back in the early 90s. I got to attach a few pieces to it and maybe refurbish it a little bit later on, since my modeling skills have improved a little bit. So that's our display on this table right here. And then as we come across here, and we have our Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet with Altera. And then we also have up on top little themed of Superman. You can tell I'm a Superman fan here, of our nice little figures up there. But as we come down to our next model, of course we all know that this is the Enterprise D. And of course then down below we have our, this is actually the Defiant. This is the one I did where it gets plugged in and it does glow green. So I consider this my night light, next to my bed. And then we got over here our Polar Lights figure of Superman, Kryptonite No More, that I did. And I just remembered a couple more models I skipped over, so we'll be right back, and we'll have this video done for you. Alright, stay tuned. Alright, we're back in the modeling room. These are the couple more that I skipped over. We're back again. Of course, that's the other Forbidden Planet C-57D Space Cruiser. It does light up with a 9-volt battery. It's one of our wooden plane I had since I was a little teenager. I'm going to probably eventually clean that up and make it look right. Okay, then we of course have the another little diorama setup of the Seaview Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. This is the model 5099 version, a little bit smaller, but there you go. So that's what I display throughout my entire house, and thanks for asking the question there, PapaDan, and so there you go. Hope everybody has a good day, and we will catch you on the next segment. So long.